Hey guys, we are back. Welcome to the April 2022 Real Estate Market Snapshot, which we've kind of incorporated into our real estate market forecast. If you've been paying any attention to the stuff that we've been putting out over the last month, there is a lot of market forecast data coming on. So you're going to see Chris Thornburg in the next couple of days, plus we put out probably 8 or 9 videos prior to that. So anyway, that's still ongoing. However, we are doing our market snapshot right now. So we're doing April Inland Southern California market update. So let's jump right in. A lot of exciting stuff. Certainly we'll talk about interest rates. Yes, they are up again. So we'll give you something, a little comparison to take a look at. An update on the eviction moratorium. There is big news to report. I've been doing separate eviction moratorium updates every month. I'll do a 30, 60-second recap at the end of this video. But if you want a little bit more data, then you're going to have to go see the extended video, which will be linked and you'll be able to find it. So let's just jump right in with median price Los Angeles County. Interesting stuff going on, guys. So we are in the 2-year chart. I've got my little trend bar. If you've been watching, I said the next couple of months will be very interesting because this is March of 2020. This is COVID lockdown day 1, month 1, which was March of whatever, 2020, March 17th, whatever it happened to be. So this is what we've done in the last 2 years. The numbers are going to get really wonky because a lot of weird stuff happened in March and April and then kind of in May. So you're going to, I'll say it a couple of times, but you'll see the trend develop. This is the 1-year chart. If you're interested in property values and you had some concerns as to what was going to happen at the beginning of this year, we pulled back ever so slightly into January. February said, yep, no problem. And guess what? March even stronger. So the price appreciation trend continues. So what does this look like? Median price, Los Angeles County, $810,000, 13.9% higher than a year ago, and which was $712,000, 33.2% higher than 2 years ago at $609,000. So we are certainly on a rocket ship for Los Angeles County, which, by the way, of the 3 counties that we are highlighting, this is the worst performing county, at least from an appreciation perspective. Kind of probably makes sense because the higher prices, a little tougher to go higher, maybe a little bit easier in Riverside, San Bernardino County. So let's take a look at the supply and demand for Los Angeles County. I like this chart. As much as we have been screaming about inventory, and I'm still screaming about inventory, but we do see a trend of increasing properties on the market in LA County. Unfortunately, the trend is starting off at a much lower baseline, so we're still screaming about we don't have enough inventory to sell. But the good news is at least the trend is upward as it should be. So that's the 24-month chart. Here is the 12-month chart. Just again, a little bit easier maybe to kind of visualize where we are. So what does this mean for LA County? Listings down 16% year over year, 13% in the last 24 months. This is the part that I think is interesting though. In the last 12 months on pendings, did about 4,800 plus pendings in LA County. That is down 4.7% from March of a year ago. This is the worst performing county as far as pendings are concerned. You're going to see Riverside County here in a minute, and the number is almost the exact opposite. You're going to see a positive number there. You do see this crazy number down here. Pendings over the last 24 months are up 77%. What's up with that? Well, again, March 2020, first month of COVID lockdown. We had the first half of the month, let's say, was normal. The second half of March of 2020, basically nobody did anything. So to see that increase kind of sort of makes sense. But this number here, even though this is the negative number, to me this is a good thing. March of last year was a good month, okay? So to see these numbers positively trend, I like. Let's take a look at Riverside County. Very similar looking charts, except however, this is the best performing county out of the 3 counties. Again, look at that, just tearing up for 2 years. Just crazy stuff. 12-month window, again, of ever slight, so leveling at the beginning of the year. But here we are February, here we are March, we're higher numbers. I want to point out March, and I'll mention this applies to everything. Today's April 5th, all right? This represents the entire month of March. A lot of things have been happening in the month of March. Interest rates have jumped a percentage point in the month of March. Inflation is all you hear about, not only in the month of March, but even prior. We've got Russia invading Ukraine. There's a lot of things going on out there. Inventory is still low, but apparently that didn't scare away any of the buyers in the marketplace, because we continue just to be on a holy tear when it comes to property values in the Riverside market, even in the month of March with all of that drama going on. So what is that? That's a $580,000 median price, almost 21% increase from $480 a year ago. 2 years ago, $400,000, which 45%. 2-year chart, Riverside County, 45%. Absolutely nuts. I'm going to actually back up a slide. We were talking about what's values going to do. What are values going to do in the next 12 months? Are we going to see craziness, another 20% appreciation? I hope not. But if you go back and you use this chart as and you kind of trend it out, it's entirely possible just based on the first quarter, we're going to see another huge number of appreciation, at least certainly in the Riverside County market. Who knows? We'll see what the professionals say when we get them here on the forecast. But the trend is definitely upward, and the trend is not a 5% appreciation for 2022. So the supply and demand for Riverside County, again, good news is we're starting to see this trend, the red bars of inventory increase. We're supposed to see inventory increase in January and February and March, just like it had done in prior years. But again, we're still starting off at a much, much lower level. So you will continue to hear us scream, we just do not have enough homes to sell. The 12-month chart, again, just gives you a little bit better idea. You can see last January, February, March, April, May, peaked in July, it looks like. And then here we are, in the month of March with an upward trend, but still at a lower baseline what we looked at before. So 5,000 homes for sale, 4.7% fewer than a year ago, 28% fewer than 2 years ago. But this is the great part about, if you had some concerns in Riverside County as far as is the buyer demand going to be there? Are they going to be afraid of inflation? Are they going to be afraid of interest rates? Well, they certainly weren't afraid last month. 6.2% more sales in March of 2022 than we did in March of 2021. And I got to tell you, March of 2021 was a pretty darn good month, okay? So, again, 6.2% better and 56% better than the March COVID month 1, which of course was March of 2020. So again, these numbers get really weird. I kind of warned you about that when we did this snapshot from last month. So at any rate, Riverside County, it is the absolute best performer in the 3 counties that we're looking at. In San Bernardino, you remember I had a little problem with my chart last month. Well, apparently it fixed itself. Values fairly flat, but what happened? Well, values in March continued to charge upwards in San Bernardino County. There they are. Again, just a positive chart. I mean, if you like appreciating property values, you're going to like that chart. 15% higher than 12 months ago, 35% higher than 2 years ago, which was 365, 12 months ago, 430, and we landed at 495 on March 31st of 2022. So again, just crazy numbers. Supply and demand, again, the trend we pulled back a little bit last month. If you guys remember that, uh-oh, what happened in San Bernardino? How come we had fewer properties for sale? That was different than LA and LA and Riverside County. But San Bernardino said, hey, that's fine, don't worry about us. And they basically backfilled in March, and the inventory numbers went up. 12-month chart, and what does this all mean? 5,200 houses for sale, 5% fewer than a year ago, 30% fewer than 2 years ago. Again, pending home sales. Last March 2021, a very, very good month. Well, a little bit better in March of 2022, even with the inventory struggles. And again, the crazy numbers comparing this March to 2 years ago, March, 57% increase. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with our April, May, June numbers, et cetera, et cetera. So I just pulled Riverside out. I thought I did Riverside recently, and then I looked back and I realized I hadn't. So this is the city of Riverside. So again, 12-month price chart. If you want to skip ahead, that's a 40% increase, actually a 40.9% increase in property values in the city of Riverside over 2 years. This is the 12-month chart. Again, if you just want to grab almost any one of these bars in here and then kind of project out 12 months, it's going to give you a huge number. It's going to give you another 15, 16, 20% appreciation if this trend continues. So I guess we'll let the experts tell you whether or not they think this trend is going to continue for 2022. So what does this mean? Almost 22% increase year over year. 40.9% over 2 years ago, March of COVID year. That puts us at 620 today, 509 a year ago, 440 2 years ago. Again, just ridiculous appreciation values. Supply and demand for Riverside. Again, we still have a supply problem, but Look what happened in March. We started to see some inventory hit the market in March. By the way, if you're a buyer and you're watching this and you'd be like, I don't feel any of this, Lance. I'm writing offers and offers and offers. I'm not getting them accepted. Right, I'm with you. We still don't have enough homes and the demand is just nuts. So you're still looking at multiple offers on every single property. 12-month supply and demand chart. What does it mean? Again, smaller sample. This is the city of Riverside. Only 590 homes. That's a very small number, to be honest with you. 13% less than a year ago, 32% less than before. Now, the city of Riverside underperformed just a little bit year over year, March to March, down, let's call it 1%. But again, March of last year was a great month. And 43% up over the last 2 years. So again, very interesting charts. They're trending very nicely. However, I really don't want to see another 20% appreciation in 2022. I just don't feel good about it. Interest rates. At some point, I'm going to have to stop all these old ones, but I thought, what the heck, we'll leave it on. The very first snapshot I did was August 6th, 2.8%. That's 8 months ago, 2.8%. And so as I quickly go through these the following month, then October, and then November, oops, now we're at 2.9, and then we get to December, we broke 3, and we get to January, we broke 3.2, and we broke 3.5, and last month we were at 3.7, and where are we today? Which, by the way, you're going to notice my chart is different. So I want to, the prior charts I pulled off of Freddie Mac's website. You can go there anytime, Freddie Mac interest rates. You can find the exact same chart that looks like this. I've been introduced to these folks here at Optimal Blue. I like their stuff better, and generally it's coming from the same place. It's just a little bit more updated. This was, as of yesterday, 4.8%. August 6th, when we did our first market snapshot, 2.8%. We've seen a 2% rise in interest rates in the last 7 months. I showed this chart in a sales meeting earlier today, and one of my lenders immediately said, Lance, this was yesterday. Today rates are above 5%. So a lot of interesting stuff going on in the bond market. So this will be interesting to watch this ride to see what happens here. But this is generally where we're at today, right at around 5% on the interest rate chart. So eviction moratorium. I'm going to give you a quick one. If you want the full-blown deal, you're going to have to watch the full-blown eviction moratorium update. So this is the quick one, all right? Let me blow past here. This is our sister company, Cobalt Property Management. You can see the whole Coldwell Banker Property Management on our Coldwell Banker Property Management Facebook page. So this is the deal. They went ahead and they extended the eviction moratorium that was expiring on March 31st, and they kicked it out for 3 months. It is now kicking out to April, May, June 30th. However, there's good news here, and I was not expecting to be able to report good. To me, the best news would have been that they would have let the eviction moratorium sunset completely. They didn't do that, but by the way, the bill is AB 2179, came out of the Assembly, was passed by the Senate, and not signed by Governor Newsom. This was the first bill apparently ever signed in California by the Lieutenant Governor. Governor Newsom was on vacation. So I wonder if he just didn't want to have his fingerprints anywhere on this bill, or whether he truly was on vacation. But at any rate, I like this, and I like the extension for the following reason. Basically what it's saying is if you're not already in the system and you haven't already applied for some sort of rental assistance through the COVID Relief Act prior to March 31st, which was last Thursday, then this extension doesn't apply to you. It only applies to the people that are already in the pipeline, and it says, hey, we're going to give you another 90 days to finish that. So if you're not currently in the system, basically, the eviction moratorium has sunsetted and it is done, all right? So I think that's great news. I have more slides here, but I'll tell you what, if you want the full-blown thing, watch our full-blown eviction moratorium update on Coldwell Banker's site, and I'm looking for the slide that says thank you very much, and I think it's coming up. So thank you very much. So we'll see you next month, and our market forecast also continues. Keep an eye out.